Good morning. I am Dr. R. Vidya, Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department of Computer Science, St.Joseph's College of Arts and Science, Cuddalore. Now we are going to see the fifth unit, Shuffling and Sorting in Hadoop Map Reduce. So how the shuffling and sorting process is going on Hadoop system, Hadoop distributed file system. Shuffle phase in Hadoop transfer the map output from mapper to a reducer in MapReduced. Sort phase in MapReduce covers the merging and sorting of map outputs. Data from the mapper are grouped by the key, split among reducers and sorted by the key. See, this diagram explains. It is output from the mapper. We are receiving the data. Here the shuffling, after the process sorting, then we can get the input to the reducer. Here we are having the data. See, for example, take this Ayush 432. Once again we are having with 345. So after the shuffling and the sorting with the key, it is arranged in that way. Ayush 432, Ayush 345 in this way. So this is a simple example. It is an output from the mapper giving input to the reducer. In Hadoop, the process by which the intermediate output from mappers is transferred to the reducer is called shuffling. Reducer gets one or more keys and associated values on the basis of reducers. Intermediated key value generated by the mapper is sorted automatically by key. Shuffle phase in Hadoop transfer the map output from mapper to the reducer in MapReduce. Sort phase in MapReduce covers the merging and sorting of map outputs. Data from the mappers are grouped by the key, split among the reducers and sorted by the key. Every reducer obtains all values associated with the same key. Shuffle and sort phase in Hadoop occur simultaneously and are not by the MapReduce framework. The process of transferring the data from the mappers to the reducer is known as shuffling. That is the process by which means the system performs the sort and transfer the map output to the reducer as input. See, this is in this diagram. So MapReduce shuffle phase is necessary for the reducers. Otherwise, they would not have any input or input from every mapper. As shuffling can start even before the map phase has finished, so this saves some time and completes the task in lesser time. The keys generated by the mapper are automatically sorted by MapReduce framework. That is, before starting of reducer, all intermediate key value pair in MapReduce that are generated by the mapper get sorted by key and not by the value. Values passed to each reducer are not sorted. They can be in any order. Sorting in Hadoop helps the reducer to easily distinguish when a new reduce task should start. This saves time for the reducer. Reducers start a new reduce task when the next key in the sorted input data is different than the previous. Each reduce task takes key value pair as input and generates key value pair as output. Shuffling and sorting in Hadoop MapReduce is not performed at all if you specify 0 reducers. Then the MapReduce job stops at the map phase and the map phase does not include any kind of sorting. In conclusion, shuffling sorting occurs simultaneously to summarize the map intermediate output. Shuffling and sorting in Hadoop MapReduce are not performed at all if you specify 0 reducer. This concept is explained in this diagram. So in this diagram, the copy means it is a shuffling. The copy means shuffle phase, reduce phase. See this diagram, we are giving the input, the mapping stored in the buffer in the memory, the partition split into the disk, the finally merge. So this is called the shuffle phase. And another one is we are calling as a sorting phase with a reduced phase. So merging with the key values reduced, then the reduced task is the output. So Generally, the MapReduce paradigm is based on sending the computer to where the data resides. MapReduce program executes in three stages, namely map stage, shuffle stage, and reduce stage. Map stage. The map or mapper's job is to process the input data. Generally, the input data is in the form of file or directory and is stored in the Hadoop file system. The input file is passed to the mapper function line by line. The mapper processes the data and creates several small chunks of data. In reduced stage, the stage is the combination of shuffle stage and reduce stage. The reducer's job to the process the data that comes from the mapper. After processing, it produces a new set of output which will be stored in Hadoop distributed file system. During the map reduce job, Hadoop sends the map and reduce the task to the appropriate servers in the cluster. The framework manages all the details of data passing such as issuing task, verifying task completion and copying data around the cluster between the nodes. Most of the computing takes place on the node with the data on local disk that reduces the network traffic. After the completion of the given task, the cluster collects and reduces the data to form an appropriate result and sends it back to the Hadoop server. So this diagram explains these three stages: map task, shuffle phase, sort phase, reduce phase. So map task, reduce task. Hope you can follow this concept. In conclusion, shuffling and sorting occur simultaneously to summarize the mapper intermediate output. Shuffling and sorting in Hadoop MapReduce are not performed at all if you specify the zero reducer. Thank you. Thank you, students.